Cardinals fans, everydayers, we need to have a little chat. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So we need to have a conversation. It's something that I've, manicured to make it not seem like scolding, because it's not, even though it could potentially come off that way, which it won't. But we need to have a conversation. Second segment, irrespective of the first, Kyler Murray's not perfect. Spoiler alert. We need to talk a little bit more about that. And then a quick Daniel Jones conversation. Calm. Everything's fine. I'm not saying the Cardinals should sign Daniel Jones to take over QB1 roles. Apparently, I have to say that. So I'm saying that, and I've said that. Okay? Okay. In my opinion, Arizona Cardinals fans need to be better. Everydayers, you need to be better. And let me explain. I'm not saying that anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm not saying, hey, you should think the way I do instead of your free will to think how you do. No. I feel that over the last 8 seasons now, going, mid-8 season, we've built some trust here. I constantly say I am going to speak to you like adults. I'm going to speak to you like you're smart people, like you are. And I'm not going to sugarcoat things when it's unnecessary just to do it to make things sound better, to make the listening easier. And this is one of those times. The Arizona Cardinals have been a perennially losing organization since their inception. St. Louis Cardinals, Phoenix Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. A couple blips of positivity throughout the years, but the majority, they've been a bottom dweller since their inception. Okay, I'm not saying that to pile on by any stretch. I'm not saying you're the fan of the wrong team. I'm not saying that. For people like Kevin McKenna, get your shout out. People who have been Cardinals fans for 40 years, more power to you. The stick-to-itiveness of Cardinals fans who are true Cardinals fans is very apparent and very well respected, from my end at least. And what's been going on when the Cardinals have lost games this year, in my opinion, should be more sculpted surrounding the positives that are going on and not when the Cardinals lose a game. Because when we look throughout this season, a season that is still considered in the rebuild from the complete teardown at the end of the 2022 season, the Cardinals are by far exceeding expectations. There's only been one game this year, two, where they were completely embarrassed, against Washington at home in week 4, and then in Green Bay on the road, where they were just out of the game pretty much from the jump. Every other game this year, they've played like a top 15 team. Something that would have been a far cry from rational thought before the season started. The one thing I don't understand is the complete cutoff of any memory before what happened before a loss. The Cardinals were in that game on Sunday. Kyler Murray threw a bad pick. Yes. That was a bad throw. It was a bad toss. It was a bad time to make a play happen or try to make a play happen. That was bad. James Conner, 8 rushing yards. Bad. Offensive line, bad. Maybe some situational play calling and coaching, bad. Yes. All true, all vitriol, necessary with what we witnessed in those respects. And that doesn't take away the growth that's been going on this year. So I challenge you to look at the big picture, not be as demonstrative on the sad, bad, negative side when the body of work in 2024 has been a rousing success. Is that fair? And you know me at this point. You know that for the first 4 years on this podcast, 3, it was hard for me to say anything positive about this team. I struggled. I talked with, the head of the NFL, the coordinator for the NFL channel, Ross Jackson, host Locked On Saints. I struggled with finding positive things to say. I got a lot of crap for it, and it's fine, and I deserved it, and I didn't want to say things that weren't true. So now, as the transition has happened from the last regime to the new one, this is a respected franchise for the first time in quite some time. This is a respected, stable, cohesive, well-led organization from the GM down. So when the Cardinals lose the way they do at Lumen Field in Week 12, and when it's not perfect and the offense isn't humming and they don't score a touchdown and, they didn't look great on offense naturally, even though the defense held them up. The positives from that game outweigh the negatives, even though the Cardinals lost, because of the progress that the Cardinals have made this year. I'm going to give you a homework assignment, and then we'll pivot. We'll talk about Kyler Murray. I won't be discussing like this again. I preach on this show to not compare the Arizona Cardinals journey with other organizations. It was a big Houston versus Cardinals last year. Big one. Oh, Houston figured it out. The Cardinals didn't. Where are we now? A little bit more neck and neck than people think. Letting things play out during this rebuild, instead of nitpicking at everything that hasn't gone perfectly and hasn't gone well during this rebuild, why would the former not be more of the way to go about things? There's so many positives to take away from this year so far. Nothing's perfect. I'm going to compare now, though. I want you to pull up. Let's do it now. If you're in front of your computer or on your phone, I want you to pull up the standings for the NFL. And don't look at, the record specifically. Just look at the teams. I want you to look at the rest of the NFL teams, AFC, NFC, doesn't matter, both. And ask yourself, would you rather be the Cardinals or this team? Would you rather be the Cardinals or this team? And a simple exercise like that may put into perspective the ever-changing atmosphere of the NFL, the ever-changing hierarchy, really in the middle class is what we're talking about here, aside from the 1%ers like Kansas City. It's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. And when you look at a good chunk, if not half, of the rest of the NFL teams, you may find yourself saying, I'd rather be where the Cardinals are right now than that team. I'd rather be where the Cardinals are right now than the Raiders, than the Patriots, than the Browns, than the Jets. Just off the top of my head, just a couple. The majority of the AFC South. Hell, maybe the majority of the NFC West at this point. The Arizona Cardinals are positioned the best for future pacing success than they've ever been as an organization. Is that enough for now? I love the fandom. I love it all. I implore to maybe look at the positives a little bit more than focusing on the negatives, which there have been far fewer than positives in 2024, especially with where they are on their rebuild. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Kyler Murray under microscope next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at Skylight Frames. Want to celebrate with and stay connected with people who are far away, missing someone this holiday season and want to be part of your festivities from afar? Do your loved ones live far away? Do you wish they could be closer to you? Of course you do. Well, we've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame is a touchscreen digital photo frame your whole family will love. Upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. You can add new photos straight from your phone from anywhere. It only takes a tap on your phone to send new photos to a frame across the country. It's the fastest, easiest way to keep loved ones in the loop. They'll feel so much more connected to you. The touchscreen is an absolute game changer, man. Swipe through photos, tap to see new photos sent, tap the heart button to say thank you to the sender. 2 sizes to choose from. The original 10-inch or larger 15-inch gallery frame, they look perfect in any room, and they can stand on their own, or they can easily mount them to a wall. And it's better than social media. It's great. Private. It's a way to share your photos without posting it to the world or having to print and store hard copies. And now is a special limited time offer for just our listeners. Get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/lockedonnfl. That's skylightftframe.com/lockedonnfl. Get $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com/lockedonnfl. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, do live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets, man. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, I mean, listen, you'll never hear me say this is exactly how you should think. I mean, that's asinine. It's stupid. It was called asinine on Twitter. Fantastic word. Fantastic and very underutilized word. I may pepper it in. I may spreck a little asininery, in my daily jargon here on Locked On Cardinals. I just think, especially now, where nothing is lost, nothing is won. And that's far better than what everybody expected when the season started. Most people, I won't say everybody. So appreciating the growth and maturity of this team from the GM down, while not close to perfect, has shown far more positive than negative in 2024, including in the win-loss column. The main cog in the machine that is the Arizona Cardinals 2.0 is Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray gets most of the pushback. And I think that's fair. He's a quarterback. He's his 6th year, hasn't won jack. And people are, pushing back constantly and without restrictor plate. I mean, it is incessant. And I've always, since day one, said it was much more a Cliff Kingsbury problem than Kyler Murray. If you don't think it was a Cliff Kingsbury problem, you probably don't listen to this show, because you would not like to hear as much as I thought about that. And I said it pretty much since day one. People didn't believe me. People thought that I was dumb. People thought that I was giving Kyler Murray a free pass. And we'll see what happens with Jaden Daniels. It'll pretty much starting to rear its ugly head. Same thing. Kyler Murray's not perfect. Kyler Murray took a long time to mature as an NFL quarterback. It's really only happened to start a season this year. And that's sometimes what happens. It doesn't happen often. Kyler Murray's ascension to one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL, not making a lot of mistakes. He's only his 4th interception. We're in week 12, folks. But still, Kyler Murray isn't perfect. Kyler Murray missed Trey McBride twice wide open, pretty much. One was for a touchdown that he airmailed him, but there was kind of triple coverage. So that was one that could have been a pick in the end zone. Maybe just wanted to throw away and take the 3. The 4th down play call, or the 4th down decision, was poor. One of the worst ones he's made as an NFL quarterback. And Kyler Murray expected to be perfect by many. Asininery. Nailed it. I wasn't expecting to do it. I don't compare I don't compare the Arizona Cardinals' plight to the rest of the NFL because everybody is on a different, rung of the ladder with their, specific salary cap and quarterback and rookies. And it's like everybody's got a different situation. Everybody's got a different grab bag at the current time. Look around the NFL at how much bad quarterback play is. So when Kyler Murray's not playing perfectly for you, I'm sorry. And when you look at Gardner Minshew or Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, who's making a whole bunch more money than Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, who we'll talk about in the next segment for a sec. Look, pull up that same list. I hope you still have it up. Hope you're doing your homework from the first segment. Would you rather have this quarterback for that team or Kyler Murray? That should tell you enough as to how hard it is to play the quarterback position and how poorly and how many others fail doing just that. Kyler Murray has a lot to work on still. And he's played some of the best football of his career in 2024. He'll have a stinker once in a while. He still kept that team within one score until 3 minutes left after playing very, very poorly. They moved the ball very well between the 20s last week. Just couldn't get it in the end zone. Touchdowns, not field goals. That's what kept that's it. I could do 3 shows on why the Cardinals are 6-5, and maybe one full show of that would be the Cardinals scoring touchdowns and not field goals. Inside goal to go. They're the best in the NFL. Touchdowns, not field goals, win games. Field goals, not touchdowns, lose games. It's as simple as that. They had 2 golden opportunities last week to score touchdowns, and they kicked field goals. And that was it. Kyler Murray's not perfect. Kyler Murray doesn't have to be perfect for this team to win. And when Kyler Murray is at his best, at the peak, at the 100% absolute in a vacuum dictionary definition of Kyler Murray, Madden on easy, there are very few quarterbacks that are better than him. And you cannot say that about other quarterbacks who are best, the best top tier game they could play. Still be average. Kyler Murray is absolutely elite when he's playing his best football. Shouldn't even be a conversation. I guess this is a show of reflection. Wasn't exactly expecting this, but I feel this is a safe space, and thanks for sharing it with me. Thanks for being everydayers. Please go to the YouTube channel for Talk to Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button if you so desire. If you want to go leave a review where reviews are left, cool. If not, you know that I'm just happy that you're here. Never thought I'd say this. Should the Cardinals sign Daniel Jones? Let's talk about it next. Locked on Cardinals, your team, yours every day. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by Hillsdale College. Time is our most precious commodity, so don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend it wisely to improve yourself? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just go enjoy the lectures, man. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockdown to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockdown to register. hillsdale.edu/lockdown. I mean, the Cardinals should see how much Daniel Jones would cost. I tweeted out the Cardinals should check in on Daniel Jones the moment Kyler Murray took that big hit on the scramble. When knocked out of him, again, for those that missed what happened, Kyler Murray took a hit, went in, he was kind of grabbing at his stomach, his rib area, and then he went right into the blue medical tent. And what happened the report after was got the wind knocked out of him, and then he went in because the supervisor that's looking for concussion protocol said he hit his head, got to go check it out, clear concussion protocol in 2 minutes, and he was back. I see Daniel Jones as a better version of Josh Dobbs. Not much better version, but I see Daniel Jones as a better version of Josh Dobbs. And if Josh Dobbs can run this offense without any real skill position players and a bad offensive line compared to this year, so could Daniel Jones. And the Cardinals, if Kyler Murray gets hurt, Clayton Tune ain't it. You're almost behind the 8 ball if you don't have a competent backup quarterback nowadays. It used to be starting quarterbacks just never really got hurt, at least not compared to the level of injuries and missed games that we've seen the last couple seasons. I mean, it's stark. It's a stark contrast. So you bring in Daniel Jones, give him $11. I mean, the Giants are already paying his salary. So you give him the vet minimum. It's going to be pennies on the dollar. And just have him hold a clipboard. I'll tell you one thing, and this is how to look at it. Just got a lot of pushback. Wow, I didn't realize how many Daniel Jones fans there were. I'm not a fan of Daniel Jones as a starting quarterback. As a backup, he's a top 5 backup in the NFL. The system was terrible with the Giants. Their offensive line was bad. They had no real run game, and until Tyrone Tracy kind of took over the last couple of weeks, the skill position players aren't great. They lost Evan Ingram a couple years ago. They've got Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton. For the majority of the time, Malik Neighbors is fine, but he hit a rookie wall. You bring Daniel Jones in here and you run the read option package with him and James Conner with this offensive line, and you can play action and throw short routes to sure-handed ball catchers like Trey McBride and Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison Jr. It's a no-brainer. And if he doesn't play, he backs up next year, or you just sign him for the rest of the year and you bid him adieu. This offense of Drew Petzing's is catered perfectly to Daniel Jones' strengths. If Kyler Murray misses time, you could see rookie Lamar Jackson rushing attempts by Daniel Jones. They may run the triple wing formation and just run triple read option. They wouldn't. I'm just saying that as a thing, kind of haha funny, Daniel Jones is not an above average quarterback. Daniel Jones is an above average backup quarterback. And if the Cardinals actually want to make a push this year, they've got to have all their boxes checked in case something happens for all positions. And if you're going to do it with other positions, you got to do it at quarterback too. And this may just be a gift. Chances are they're not going to sign him, of course. But I have conversations that are like, it makes sense. So why you got to have a conversation about it. Like, the Ravens in Minnesota and other teams are, looking at it because they understand if Lamar Jackson goes down, that team is toast. Unless they've got a backup quarterback that can do 45 or 50% of what Lamar Jackson can do. And that's exactly what Daniel Jones would be able to do if Kyler Murray got hurt. That's it. It's not a deal. It's not a world breaker if they don't sign him. It's not a world breaker if they do sign him. But with the money they have and the situation that they're in currently, having a competent backup quarterback in case something happens couldn't hurt. It's a win-win-win all around. At least bring him in for a look. You know that he can run the ball. He's 6'5", 230. The dude can run the rock. And if you have a manicured offense around him, anybody could run this offense at like a baseline level. Obviously, Kyler Murray elevates it, astronomically, but you don't necessarily need it. You just need Daniel Jones. You would just need Daniel Jones to not lose games for you. And Drew Petzing would be able to do that. Again, he did it with Josh Dobbs last year. They didn't win a bunch of games. They were in the majority of games that they played last year, aside from a couple of really bad second halves and then, whenever they played San Francisco. I just don't think it's as dumb as people see on paper. Oh, Daniel Jones sucks. Okay, that's lazy. Look at what he would be like in this offense. Run heavy, short passes, move the ball down the field. Daniel Jones he's one of the better quarterback red zone threats also. Like, I don't understand. I don't see a downside. There's zero downside. The upside may not be that great, but with zero downside, why not take a shot? Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Bo Brock. Bo Brock is joining me tomorrow. Yeah, my buddy's going to join me, and we'll talk to you then. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.